The roofing industry is broken, and we've got the fix. At Hire a Pro, we help homeowners do the same thing a roofer would do when it hails on their own house. Own the project, delegate the tasks, and keep the compensation. But you don't have to take my word for it. You could ask Chrissy. Chrissy, how'd it go?
It went great. You educated us on how everything worked, showed us behind the curtain, so to speak, and after our $25,000 roof was replaced, we walked away with almost $6,000 for the work we put in.
And what work was that?
We got the permit and we picked the color. Hire a Pro handled everything else. You did a great job, and I'm not even being paid to say that. If anyone's listening and has a storm damage claim, call them. Don't hire a roofer, hire a pro.
That's awesome. I appreciate the kind words, and I think you just made up our new motto. All right, Joe, you're up.
So if insurance has approved your roof replacement, give these guys a call at 651-402-3400 or visit them online at hirea.pro. That's hire, and then put the dot there, pro.
Hey, Garage Logic fans, I do a podcast on the Garage Logic Network that comes out every Wednesday and Friday now, twice a week. But here's an important caveat. There is zero logic available in my show, in the formal definition of logic. Of course, life is a yin and yang kind of thing. There's the logic side, and then there's the what the hell side, which needs to get its exercise. So come for the what the hell and stay for the you've got to be kidding me. Mischke, now Wednesdays and Fridays, twice a week. Boom doobie 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 dum boom. But my name's Mischke. I just told you who. Huh? You don't understand what I'm saying? Let's go, let's go, let's go! Hello, fellow travelers. Yo, ding flippin' what you call your whiz-bang, highfalutin', howdy ho, skeet each and every one of you out there listening right now. Whee-hee-hee-hee. You guys been traveling at all outside the United States? The U.S. State Department's travel advisory would like you to know that Damascus, Syria isn't a good idea for your family vacation. Steer clear of southern Ukraine, will you please? Not the nicest place to visit these days. Those of you hoping to have a good time in Mogadishu, Somalia? All these joints carry the most severe warning from the U.S. State Department. Level 4, that's red. That means do not travel. Hello! They are no-go zones. For some travelers, however, for some people out there, that's what makes them the ideal vacation spot. In recent years, according to the State Department, such risky trips, traditionally the domain of war correspondents, have trickled into the mainstream. There's a company called Untamed Borders, and they offer guided tours of Afghanistan, Libya, the Central African Republic, anywhere you want to go to be killed. Bookings have been growing steadily over the last few years. I know, you were going to take the family to Hawaii. Nuts to that noise, Mogadishu's calling. Here's a traveler, Richard Dahman. He says, I've dodged snipers in rebel-held territory in Syria. I've had to be escorted by an armed convoy in Somalia. I've had tense encounters with heavily armed border guards who have threatened my life repeatedly. But I've also tried some really cool noodles at a restaurant in Pyongyang, North Korea, and I've toured some neat mosques in Baghdad. So you see, it's not all rough and rowdy. Hey, Richard, those noodles in that mosque, that makes up for everything. All you had to do was mention noodles, and I would have been I'd have been right behind you. So you got to see some cool churches and eat some decent food, and the only price you had to pay was visiting living hell! I bet you had a decent sandwich in Damascus, Syria, didn't you? I bet you had a decent sandwich when you were being shot at. I bet when those border guards were threatening your life, you were thinking about your decent sandwich earlier that day. You know how good a sandwich would have to be to justify the trip in my mind? That would have to be a really, really good sandwich. No, it'd have to be the best sandwich ever made since the beginning of time. I'm thinking second best is okay. Richard, do you think you would have liked the Cambodian killing fields had they offered a scrumptious bowl of, booyah? So more and more people are wanting to go to no-go zones. No-go zones is how they're referred to by the State Department, and people want a vacation there. People are interesting, aren't they? I just think people are so interesting. I like monitoring them. I think I have spent the last several years of my life mostly monitoring people, studying them in the petri dish of life, seeing who and what they are. People have to be the single most bizarre things ever to be placed on Earth. When you really look at all they do, all the different ways they behave on this planet, what incredible theater. Is it not a show out there? Come on, you people see it every day. It's a show. People are wonders, absolute wonders to behold. I'm really going to miss them when I die. That's the number one thing I'm going to miss. People. They've been such a treat to watch over the years, to hear, to examine. Would you like to go with me to Napa Valley, sweetheart? It's beautiful there in the autumn. Northern California? There's a little villa that looks out on the Pacific Ocean, and a vineyard is there serving the most delicious wine, and it's all outdoors under a graceful canopy overlooking the beautiful sea. Sorry, honey, I've already purchased plane tickets elsewhere. Ordinarily I would go, but there's a deal on plane fare to Mogadishu. Yeah, where I believe right about now a car bomb is ready to detonate, courtesy of Al-Shabaab jihadists, right there in the war-ravaged neighborhood that's barely standing amidst the rubble. Yeah, I've rented a little room there, and I'm hoping to enjoy a cappuccino out on the sidewalk as the bomb goes off. We're all built so differently, honey. Isn't that just a fact? We like different things. Look at you and I. We like different things. Maybe that's why I married you. You'd often talk of wanting to take a walk along the river in the early evening, just as the sun was setting, that golden light just bathing us in this beautiful glow that made us feel as though everything was timeless. And I would want to go volunteer to clean up that messy urban dog park with a boatload of little plastic baggies in my pocket and rubber gloves on my hands. Yeah, we're different, you and I, sweetie. I remember when you'd ask for flowers on your birthday, and I'd say, come on, let's do something different. This is a special day. Let's get you something like a 4-barrel carburetor from the dump. They're sitting around out there. You can just grab them. In couples therapy, you would so often complain about me, but I'm serious, I think deep down you knew I was digging deeper emotionally than a lot of guys would have. I was offering a more original lover than you would find with your average dating app. Now, the therapist would eventually recommend we get divorced, and soon. And I would say, rather than get divorced, let's explore amorous options. Maybe in Damascus, Syria. I believe they have a militia swingers club there, forming in the shadow of a collapsed concrete bridge. Now, you would frown, but I knew deep down you were thinking about it, just thinking about it, weren't you a little bit? I remember the therapist would shoo me out of the office, eventually calling security, and you seemed on his side, but deep down I think you knew I was the partner offering you more adventure. And as I headed to the airport for my trip to Somalia to live in a drainage ditch beneath the tribal warlord there who was plotting to ravage the area with some sort of organized machete attack, you secretly longed to come with me, I think. Even as you and the therapist headed off to Napa Valley together, arm in arm, I still think you were conflicted. You were conflicted. You know what would have been fun in 1968 if you had the money and you were up for adventure? Get on a plane, go to Nam. Land, rent a car, drive to a rat hole, get in it, see what you can find. Get into those little tunnels in Vietnam, poke around a little bit, bring a flashlight, see what's going on. While your friends were all in Paris, claiming to have fun, there you'd be crawling on your belly, running into new and interesting people, and killing them. Speaking of traveling overseas, anybody who's tried to learn a little bit of the local language of the country you're visiting will probably understand this feeling. You've brushed up on your vocabulary, you've done a few online exercises with this new language, but the moment you're actually in conversation with someone or trying to order a meal at a restaurant, all of that homework goes out the window. You end up feeling embarrassed, and you have to resort to the old fallback of just speaking in English, hoping they understand some of it. If that's familiar to you, do not worry. You're not alone. There's a story here that I have in front of me. It's just out in the Wall Street Journal. It's on foreign language anxiety, or FLA. FLA, foreign language anxiety. It describes the unease, the apprehension, even the panic that some people feel when learning or attempting to speak another language in their world travels. Whether it manifests with language learners not wanting to make fools of themselves in front of others, or just feeling you won't truly be understood as you attempt to converse with foreigners, this kind of anxiety is no laughing matter. In a survey, 3/5 of all respondents said they planned to take a vacation abroad sometime in the coming year, but they admitted to choosing a destination where English is already widely spoken, showing just how much of a stumbling block foreign language anxiety can be. The survey found that while 80% of people know that learning a few local words and phrases before going abroad is worthwhile, only 40% of them actually make an attempt to do so. What's more, only a quarter of people start learning well in advance. The majority admit to doing all their learning last minute, including on the airplane itself. On the airplane, in the air, headed to Europe, they're only now beginning to learn the language. Hours before landing. That's late. Let's see here, Connie. Auf Wiedersehen. That's goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen. That wasn't so hard. And Dankeschön. Dankeschön means thank you. I think I'm done. That ought to get me 2 weeks. Huh, honey? Don't you think? 2 weeks? Auf Wiedersehen, Dankeschön. Hey, they rhyme. You know, if all the German words rhyme, this is going to be easy. I don't think this language is going to be hard to learn at all. Dankeschön, auf Wiedersehen. Maybe this won't be a pain. Learn it all on the plane. Dankeschön, auf Wiedersehen. Shave and a haircut, 6 bits. Oompa, oompa, oompa. Stewardess, could I get another drink? Make it schnapps. The survey found that the most cringeworthy faux pas people experience while on vacation is pointing at a menu so they don't have to use any words at all. 40% of people in the survey say they point at menus when they travel. Other errors and embarrassing admissions in this survey? This is very common. Americans in particular do this. This is how they counter their failure to have learned the local tongue. They admit that what they do instead is speak English very slowly and very loudly. Boy, I bet Europeans love that. Je ne comprends pas. What? You still don't understand me? How many times do I gotta say this? My God. I said, where the hell can a Texan find a decent biffy around here? Does this restaurant even have a crapper? Come on, pal. I'm saying it slowly and I'm saying it loudly. Je ne comprends pas. Get out of my way, you dwarf. Point me to a field or a wooded area. Come on, I'm not waiting any longer. I am an American. What about that did you fail to prepare for when you were building your little restaurant?
Pour être mon thérapeute,
Step onto a Fury Motors lot. Stop. Take a breath. In South St. Paul, the new Dodge, Jeep, and Chrysler vehicles. In Waconia, the new Ford vehicles. In Forest Lake, the Buicks, the GMCs. Every car, every corner, every inch, perfection. You think you've seen used cars? Oh, we haven't even gotten into them yet. They are replicas of new cars, shiny, pristine, like they just rolled off the line. Every make and model. Feel the leather under your hand. Hear the hum of the engines that never quit. Watch the sunlight bounce off polished metal. It's lighting your future, camper. This isn't shopping. This is initiation. That's Fury. Since 1963, they've been doing one thing, turning ordinary drives into obsessions. Legendary. They are legendary. Other dealerships? Oh, they sell cars. Fury? They change the way you move through this world. Fury Motors. When the pipe bursts, when the furnace dies in the dead of winter, when your AC decides to quit on a hot day, you don't want just anyone showing up. Believe me, you want MSP. These are people who could write the book on boilers, write the book on furnaces, people who know pipes like surgeons know a scalpel. And they're warm. That's right, they're kind. They knock on your door and suddenly the stress of your day lifts because there are decent human beings at your door. People who smile, who listen, who help explain things. They make the chaos of plumbing and heating and cooling feel simple, easy. Since 1918, MSP has trained their teams to be the most skilled in the business and the most human. That combination, rare, magical even, well, it goes right to your head and to your heart. MSP, elite skill, genuine kindness. Call them, feel the difference when they arrive at your door. The moment you answer, you'll know you called the right people. Minneapolis, St. Paul, plumbing, heating, and air. You folks get around at all? Met a guy the other day who was just heading out for the first time from East St. Paul. He and his family were making the big trip to Fridley, and that was going to do it for this year, but they were excited. I read the book Eat, Pray, Love and thought maybe I should go to Bali. That woman sure made Bali sound like a nice place to go. Plus, I like saying Bali. Bali, Indonesia's famed tropical paradise, has charmed many tourists over the years. But I was reading this in my travel research. A lot of people going to Bali these days are left disillusioned. There are all sorts of social media posts now about expectations versus reality in Bali. You see diners enjoying the sunset at a beachside restaurant, but if you pull back a little bit on either side, piles of rubbish. That's the story everywhere you go in Bali. The bikini-clad pose in front of a waterfall, yeah, that looks real good till you pan back and see a snaking line of tourists awaiting their turn. Hey, I want my photo now. Hey, pal, you're taking too long. We've been waiting an hour. You don't have that waterfall to yourself. There are hundreds of people in line trying to get pictures of it. Everybody read that Eat, Pray, Love book. They all went there, and now it's ruined. The alfresco smoothies with bamboo straws at the sidewalk cafe. Yeah, soot-puffing motorcycles coming right by you. There's no more romance there. The roads are jammed. Millions of people flock to Bali every year in search of the spiritual Shangri-La promised in that book, Eat, Pray, Love. It should have been called Eat, Pray, Love, Complain, Get Filthy, Leave Angry. What they're greeted by in Bali, those people who have gone there thinking Eat, Pray, Love was a travel brochure, what they see is traffic, a cacophony of construction, trash, crowds everywhere. The growing strain on the island has produced plenty of eye rolls, plenty of grumbles. How did Bali, celebrated for decades as the last paradise on earth, get to this point? It was one of the first places where there was all this talk of utopia. Well, over the last decade, tourism has skyrocketed from 3.8 million visitors in 2014 to 7 million last year. Locals say their island has certainly changed under the demands of tourism. And when they hear of complaints that this is not the paradise they signed up for, some point out that these comments are dripping with irony. Here's one Bali guy being interviewed. When tourists say they're disappointed with Bali being too crowded, they don't realize they're part of the crowd. It's like when they're in traffic and they say, "Why is there so much traffic?" And they don't realize they're in a car, one of the people in traffic, causing the traffic. This local resident says a lot of tourists think because they're the ones with money to spend on our island, we locals should be okay with them doing whatever they do. I feel kind of trapped because I live on tourism, so if we stopped the tourism, I'd have trouble surviving, but they're destroying my country. People, huh? There it is again, the story of people. The conundrum of being a person. You complain about traffic, but you're part of the traffic. You complain about all the tourism, and then you feed off that tourism. You create a beautiful place, tell people how beautiful it is, they all come to see how beautiful it is, and now it's no longer beautiful because all the people came to see how beautiful it is. The conundrum of having ever put people on this earth to begin with. I think it was a gaffe from the get-go. It was never going to go smoothly, putting people here. Whose idea was it anyway? Imagine when Adam and Eve were first created, how easy it would have been to press delete right then and there. Adam and Eve, okay, you haven't gone too far yet. You could do the old whoops-a-daisy, hit delete, boom. Nope, this is not going well. Someone surely said, I can just delete it, can I? I feel like we got to go back to plants and animals. And the delete button was probably pressed, the cosmic delete button, but maybe it wasn't working. Something was wrong with it on the laptop. Come on, what's wrong? Quick, before they multiply. Damn it to hell. The button was depressed over and over again, but it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. What the heck is wrong with this thing? Come on. No matter how many times you press it, nothing changes. Look, now they're having babies. Oh, God, it's out of control. Where's the button for the flood? Hey, I got a note from a fella who wanted me to know about the Walloons. They're apparently the ones responsible for bringing booyah to America. You might have heard my recent show on booyah, that crazy mix of broth and bouillon and whatever the hell you want to throw in there. Pine sol, napkins, false teeth, honey. Booyah can be made from all of it. Anyway, the Walloons, this fella told me, are responsible for bringing booyah to America. And the Walloons came to Wisconsin. So Wisconsin is apparently the birthplace of booyah in the United States. In fact, outside the United States, it's not called booyah. They think what happened is these Walloons, who were from a region of Belgium and emigrated to the United States in, between 1853 and 1858. Again, they settled in Wisconsin only, these Walloons. They were trying to say bullion, apparently, and someone just heard booyah, and so it was called booyah. Anyway, I looked it up, and the Walloons, sure enough, are the ethnic group originating from the Wallonia region of Belgium, mainly arriving between 1853 and 1858, settling in Wisconsin only, and bringing their booyah. Wisconsin is unique for being home to one of the few Walloon ethnic enclaves on planet Earth. and they're home to a special dialect of Walloon called Wisconsin Walloon. Now, Minnesota has the Loons. This is the Walloons. Walloons! The majority of all Minnesota Booyah events are held in St. Paul, and St. Paul likes to think of itself as a Booyah capital. A lot of Eastern Europeans immigrated to St. Paul and worked in the stockyards in South St. Paul, early 20th century. And South St. Paul claims to be the Booyah capital of the world. St. Paul was the first place where a bar sold Booyah, but again, the Walloons settled in the Green Bay area. And they brought the Booyah. They were going to come to Minnesota, but they were stopped at the border by another group, not the Walloons, another group called the Balloons. This was a group of morbidly obese Minnesotans who lived off their own Booyah, which was called hoo-ha, and they didn't want it to be tainted at all, so they fought off the Walloons. The Balloons fought them off by hurling themselves against the Walloons, sending them flying into the St. Croix River. Now, the Balloons eventually called their hoo-ha Booyah because a lot of people complained about the hoo-ha, wanted it named Booyah, and so it's been Booyah ever since. So I want to thank that gentleman, Steve Wickman, for sending me that email. If you want to email the show, you can, Mischke@HubbardRadio.com. That's Mischke@HubbardRadio.com. You want to text the show, you can. That's 651-321-8949, 651-321-8949. Now, in Wisconsin, sometimes they put in their Booyah badly crushed craniums of human beings that they unearth from riverbanks. Fossils, that sort of thing. If you're having Booyah in Wisconsin, there's going to be some badly crushed craniums in there, unearthed from riverbanks in archaeological digs. It's all part of the Booyah there. We don't have that in Minnesota. But speaking of crushed craniums, a badly crushed cranium unearthed from a riverbank in central China is shaking up the human family tree. Scientists digitally reconstructed the squashed skull, thought to be 1 million years old, and its features suggest that the fossil belonged to the same lineage as a specimen called Dragon Man, part of an enigmatic population of prehistoric humans with murky origins. What did I just say? Scientists digitally reconstructed the squashed skull. Okay, I'm with you so far. Thought to be 1 million years old. All right. And its features suggest that the fossil belonged to the same lineage as a specimen called Dragon Man, part of an enigmatic population of prehistoric humans with murky origins. The skull's age and categorization would mean the group originated much earlier than thought. This changes a lot of thinking. It suggests that by 1 million years ago, our ancestors had already split into distinct groups. And one of those groups was the Dragon people, apparently. I don't know who Dragon Man is. When did we find Dragon Man? The findings, if widely accepted, would push back the emergence of our own species by 400,000 years and dramatically reshape what's known about human origins. It says here Dragon Man was part of a shadowy group that seemed to have existed along much of Asia 1 million years ago. Boy, sometimes you're just so grateful for the period you were born into. I don't know what my life would have been like had I been a Dragon Man in this shadowy group in Asia 1 million years ago. Was that a fun life? Did Dragon Man and his pals ever comment on a nice morning breeze? Or were they just eating, sleeping, mating, and behaving like feral animals? And why was he Dragon Man, huh? And why was that group shadowy and enigmatic? When I was a kid, on Friday night watching the Brady Bunch, I remember eating one of my mom's chocolate chip cookies and having some milk and thinking to myself, this is a pretty good life. Did Dragon Man ever think that? I was sitting there far, far, far away from my ancestors, with their slanty foreheads and their clubs, pulling yak grizzle from the bones of some animal and grunting. But I still wondered as I watched the crew on the Brady Bunch there, were those guys way, way back in history to join me here? Might we find common ground? I'm serious. I used to think about this. And if they liked the Brady Bunch, say they really thought Marcia was cute or Greg was cool, could that change the evolutionary trajectory in some way if I then sent them back to their time? Might they be less violent, less volatile? I'll tell you one thing about the Brady Bunch people never talk about, but I think it's huge. There was very little violence on the Brady Bunch. I was always so grateful that Quentin Tarantino never got a hold of that show. Quentin Tarantino would have ruined the Brady Bunch. There would have been domestic assault. Mike Brady would have been incarcerated. Carol would have been in therapy. Alice would have slept with Greg. Bobby would have purposely asphyxiated Cindy in the garage. You cannot let some of the later evolutionary offerings of humankind, like a Quentin Tarantino, mix with the more innocent earlier offerings, like the Brady Bunch. But, and this is important, I think it would have been healthy to have some of the earlier evolutionary offerings, like Dragon Man, come into this later world of, say, the Brady Bunch. There's a certain direction where you can really improve things, and then there's a direction where you can ruin things. See what I'm saying? I want you to know that in my show, you get Dragon Man, Quentin Tarantino, and Marcia Brady together in a single story. If there's anything that makes this show unique, it's that. It's pulling in these figures like Dragon Man, like Marcia Brady, like Quentin Tarantino, like Booyah, and mixing in a crushed cranium, and just weaving it together into a story of humanity and how interesting we all are.
All I hear all day long at school is how great Marcia is at this or how wonderful Marcia did that. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia.
Oh, you gonna die now, you murdering bastard.
Hey, people, have you ever looked at your face in the mirror and thought, yikes, my eyes are naked? Fear not, because Spectacle Shop is here to dress those eyes like royalty. 4 dazzling locations in the Twin Cities, people, each one more stunning than the last, each one a cathedral of vision, a palace of frames, a museum of optical marvels. They've been winning awards at Spectacle Shop longer than some of you have been alive. The Star Tribune's best eyewear shop the last 5 years running. They don't just sell glasses, people. They dominate the optical universe. Vintage frames, they have more than anyone in North America. Designer frames, ones you won't see anywhere else in this country. Doctors on staff, award-winning. Prescriptions, you bet. Style, elevated. Your face transformed. Imagine walking into an optical store so beautiful it's like Monet, Picasso, and Matisse somehow magically had a baby together. Spectacle Shop, 4 locations, and a vibe that makes your reflection gasp. You know your corner cafe. You know the guy who fixes your car. You know the streets where your kids ride their bikes. That's your community. That's your city. That's your life. And North American Banking Company, they know it too. 6 locations across the Twin Cities, filled with real people. Not computers, not machines, people. People helping you navigate your money, your dreams, your next move. They're not there to dazzle you with banking jargon. They're there to make your life easier, help you with your first home, your family savings, your business. Banking should not feel like a chore. It should feel like coming home. Come home to North American Banking Company. It's your neighborhood. It's your city. It's your life. Well, guess what? It's your bank.
North American Banking Company. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Well, I think it's time to call the people. Let's get the listener list out, see who's on it. Let's find someone in listener land and give 'em a ring ski. Random. Round and round the directory goes, and where it stops and nobody knows. Let's see whose name shows. Boom! Who dat? Okay, very good. I'll call you.
Please leave your message for
Dan Lee.
What was that name? Beverly? That wasn't clear. Could you say your name again?
Dan Lee.
Beverly? Beverly. I couldn't figure out whether that was a name or the sound an animal makes in the ocean. Mischke calling. You gave me your number. I thought I'd give you a ring. Ski can't find you around an hourly. Hourly. Anyway, I'm here doing a show. Thought I'd ring you.
Hello?
Ben?
Yes.
I'm
sorry. Hold on.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
One moment, please.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's up? Give it that.
Dear God. Is everything all right? Oh, my God. You okay?
Give me just 1 second.
Give me an hour.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, Mischke. You'll have to call back.
There's no way in hell I'm doing that. You talk to me right now. Hello? Hello? What on earth is happening? I was treated like dirt! Like a pile of dirt! Discarded like so much trash in a schoolyard! I've never felt so humiliated in my All right, let's try another call.
Hello?
Liz?
Yeah,
Do you know who this is?
I do. Hold on 1 second.
You getting a beer?
Sorry, 1 second. No, you called me while I was at work.
What are you doing for work?
IT support.
We have 2 hours of chat ahead of us. I got more questions on that than I can shake a stick at.
I have always been a nerdy soul, so I've always been fiddling with computers.
Always been nerdy.
Always.
How did that manifest itself in your early years?
Video games and finding out how things work and getting lost in imagination a little bit.
Getting lost in the imagination. That's a lovely thing. Can you remember the last time you really let yourself go in that department?
When I play Dungeons and Dragons and sort of have those kinds of exercises in imagination.
Dungeons and Dragons. Say no more. So you're an IT, you're a nerd, you like Dungeons and Dragons, you like video games. What else can I determine about your life based on that?
Well, I love listening to your road show and the new show very much. I just recently moved to Minnesota this past year and listened to a lot of your podcasts.
Now, you moved to Minnesota within the last year?
Yep.
From where?
I did. Denver, Colorado.
Denver. Now, a lot of people really like Denver. I understand Denver's a very popular city and a very popular state. Colorado, one of the more popular states in America. And you got the hell out of there, and came to Minnesota. Why?
My partner's from out here. Also, I really like lakes and water, and not so much out there.
Where did you two meet?
We met in Denver. I moved into the house that he was living in the attic of.
Did you know he was up in the attic, or was it one of those creepy things where there's a guy in the attic?
No, we met each other. We hit it off, right?
So that's crazy. You move into this house, and there's a guy in the attic, and you're paying rent, and he's probably living for free, right?
No, he's paying rent, too, at the time.
In an attic? Yeah. So he's in the attic, probably next to a couple of boxes of old photo albums. He's got a pillow in the corner there. And what, does he come downstairs one day, and you see him?
Backyard area, I was out there hanging out.
So he wanders into the backyard, probably because in the attic, I assume they don't have a toilet. He wanders into the backyard, and you're hanging out there. And he said, I didn't know you were here. He's going to go back in the house. But instead, you guys start talking. And what do you see in him?
We first, I guess, got along because we listened to a lot of the same music. I thought he looked pretty cool. He had a nice dog.
Did you go on a first date? An actual first date?
Yeah, our first date, I think, was probably on Halloween. We saw this band play that was a bunch of programmed robots making like metal music. It was a really weird and wild show, and we were both super into it, so I kind of knew.
Once you guys are both into programmed robots doing metal music, I mean, once you're loving that, I don't know that you want to go looking for someone else. Is the dog still alive?
Dog's still alive, Huckle Buddy.
Huckle Buddy! That's his name?
Yeah.
Huckle Buddy! Come here, Huckle Buddy! Huckle Buddy! Huckle Buddy! Ah! No! Ladies and gentlemen, and anyone with a wild streak in your wallet, you ever looked at your 401k and thought, holy smokes, this is like watching paint dry on a glacier? Worry no more, camper. Josh Arnold is here to turn things into a bit more excitement. Josh Arnold has been wrangling retirement dragons and serenading mutual funds for over 40 years. That's 4 decades of financial wizardry, baby. And now brace yourself, because Josh is offering 48 minutes of free consultation. 48 minutes. Why not 49? That would be chaos. He doesn't do chaos. He does cosmic financial fireworks. In 48 minutes, Josh will take your IRA, your 401k, your mutual funds, and poof, turn them into the financial equivalent of a triple somersaulting unicorn wearing a top hat, moving through the blue sky as the clouds dance around going, leet-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Money has never been this jazzed. 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security and investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. Tommy Mischke is a paid endorser.
When it comes to memory care, your loved one should have a home designed around their needs, their comfort, and their dignity. You got to think of all three. Well, welcome to the Wellshire in Bloomington and Medina, where every detail has been carefully crafted to make life meaningful, to make life safe, and to make it joyful for your loved one. Their households are designed for each stage of dementia or Alzheimer's, helping residents feel secure while encouraging independence. Personalized memory boxes guide them back to their rooms, fostering confidence and familiarity every single day. Beautiful, intuitive layouts, central nursing stations that can be seen right away when they exit their rooms, open concept livingscapes, creating a community where residents can connect, explore, thrive. Award-winning care is here at the Wellshire, 24/7, with compassionate staff trained in behavioral dementia and Alzheimer's support. So when you want memory care that's exceptional, when you want your loved one to live with dignity, safety, and happiness, there's just one choice, the Wellshire. Should we keep it rolling? Should we keep it rolling? Should we keep a calling? Should we keep a calling? I think so.
Hi, this is Steve. Please leave a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
You'll get back to me when you can. I'm your man. I'm your man. You say you'll get back to me when you can. Bring the clan. Bring the whole clan. This is how our relationship it began, all part of some plan, Started with a call to Steve, my man. He heard the phone ring, and he quickly ran. It doesn't seem right, but I understand. Yes, I understand. Oh, Steve, my man, you heard the call and you ran. I understand. It was part of the plan. What the hell kind of message was that? What was that?
Hello.
Hello, Chris.
How you doing?
Top notch. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm all right.
Just all right? What's going wrong in your world, kiddo?
We provide and install draperies for high-end customers, and we're here about 5 hours away and realize that there's a nice little stain on it.
Oh,
And we're really good at installing, but we're not cleaners.
Who's responsible for the stain?
An employee.
And you know the employee, don't you?
Yes, we do.
You know, I'd like to ream him. Wait, I mean, I'd like to dress him down. I mean, where do these terms come from? I'd like to give him a little what for.
Well, talking about reaming him, I don't know about that. She's a long-term employee that's in her 70s, so,
Oh, but they're the fun ones to mess with. I like to pick them up, I like to spin them around, and hurl them across the room. If they're 70 plus, it's more fun because of the osteoporosis.
She's no farm girl. She might throw me around a little bit.
A little give and take with a 70-plus-year-old farm girl. I mean, I don't know if you're a big wrestling fan.
I only did it in high school.
Oh, no, you're talking Greco-Roman wrestling. I'm talking about, the WWF. I would like her to body slam me. What's her first name? Just her first name.
Linda.
Linda the Stain Maiden. The Stain Maiden. Here she comes. Clump, clump, clump. How old is that gal? She's over 70. Clump, clump. It's the Stain Maiden. Run for your lives! How did she stain the damn thing?
There must have been some water, or the iron and press sat for a little bit. It must have been a little bit of rust. And when it shot out the steam, it put a rust stain right on the front of this fabric.
What is going to happen to the Stain Maiden? I mean, how is this going to be rectified?
Well, should I get my dad's opinion on this?
Ask him now.
Okay, hold on a sec here. Hey, Dad. Mischke called me. He was wondering about the stain and saying that Linda's the Stain Maiden could be your new wrestling name, and what you'd have to say about that.
Mischke called you?
Yeah.
Wow. And we should call Linda what?
The Stain Maiden as a wrestling name.
I think that's highly sustainable for her.
And Mischke thought she should lose her job.
Well, it's more like I work for her, so I don't know how I could do that.
Well,
remember you're talking about her being kind of gruff? You nailed it.
She's got a sharp side to her.
This is my concern, and it's not related to the Stain Maiden. When is Chris going to move out of your basement?
We've been working on that for years.
I think it's time. If you have any trouble getting him out of there, you call the Stain Maiden. An old farm gal will probably throw him out as easily as a bale of hay. Right out the door.
And she is an old farm gal.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Hey, before you got into this drapes business, what were you doing?
I worked on the railroad.
On the railroad? Man, oh man, that sounds like heaven. Did you sing while you did it?
No.
Was it Burlington Northern Santa Fe?
It was.
You know, I used to hop a lot of freight trains, and I'd watch those workers, and I'd dream of someday working on the railroad myself. Never did any more than just lay around a boxcar, but I sure liked the environment.
I always wanted to ride those and hop the freights. The closest I got was pulling spikes. You pull the spikes before they could take the ties out, replace the ties.
Yeah, it sounds a little hard on the back.
I was only 18. I thought I'd be pretty buff. All the other guys were in their 20s. They were buff.
Oh, boy.
I was a scrawny little guy.
Did you say to him, you tough SOBs, you think you're something else, but one day I'll be hanging drapes and I'll show you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, all my best to you guys in your business. Great visiting with you. And tell the Stain Maiden, strike two.
I love that name for her. Of all the years I've known her for 40 years. That's a great name for her.
I love it. All right, you guys have a great day.
Hey, Mischke.
Yeah.
This guy next to me turned me on to you way back in the day with
Vogel.
I was a little young for Vogel, but after that, I always listened to you, followed you through everything: City Pages, WCCO.
Oh man, Yeah, it's been quite a run going back to 92 when I first walked in the door there at KSTP. Quite a strange trip.
I love the new format. It's a beautiful blend of the old days and your current styling with the interviews. It's beautiful.
Oh,
Great to have you back.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Love the Phantom Caller.
The Phantom days were fun.
Those were good times.
Well, great visiting with you, fellas. All the best to you.
You as well,
All right.
Mischke.
So long. I've been working on the railroad. Oh, I live a longer day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? You rise up so early in the morning. Can't you hear the captain calling down to blow your horn? Man, I wish there was a job I could do with a bunch of guys who sing while they're doing it. Road crews, chain gangs. A job where you get together with guys and sing while you work, just to get into the rhythm of it. I think it would be the healthiest thing I could do for a living. What am I doing here? I can't sing while I do this job. Wait a minute, I just did! Well, and that's going to do it for this show. I want to thank all of you for listening, and I look forward to visiting with you next time. Bye-bye for now.